15 municipalities have been advised to appoint Eskom as an agent to perform electricity distribution on their behalf. The advice from National Treasury follows Council's non-compliance with the department's debt relief program. Energy analyst Professor Sampson Mamphweli joins us for more perspective now. Professor Mamphweli, good to have you on the program this evening. To begin, could you outline your current assessment of South Africa's electricity distribution landscape, particularly the financial and infrastructure pressures which are facing municipalities?
Good evening to you and the viewers. So there are two main issues that are facing municipalities. The first one is the fact that the municipality infrastructure is getting dilapidated. They are unable to fix or to properly maintain their distribution networks. The second one is that they are unable to collect revenue from the customers. Customers owe them around 400 billion rands. And Eskom is in a better position to be able to assist in that particular case. The third one is that where they are able to collect the revenue, some of the municipalities then redirect the money before they pay Eskom to other services that they deem as more essential. So those are the three main aspects that are facing municipalities when it comes to electricity revenue collection as well as payment to Eskom.
So National Treasury has advised these 15 struggling municipalities to enter into what's been called distribution agency agreements with Eskom. From your perspective, what problem is Treasury trying to resolve through this kind of intervention?
So National Treasury is trying to resolve mainly the municipal debt to Eskom because some of these municipalities were under the National Treasury Debt Relief Program. And according to the debt relief program, the municipalities that qualify for that program have to start paying for electricity to Eskom. They have to start servicing their current account, and then National Treasury would then take over and clear their historic debt. But what has been happening is that even where National Treasury has taken over the historic debt, some of the municipalities are still struggling to collect revenue. Some of them are still struggling to pay Eskom. That's why National Treasury has now advised them to say, go to Eskom, that is in a right position when it comes to collection of revenue. Eskom has been largely successful when it comes to revenue collection. They are also employing things such as your smart meters. They recently updated the meters from the previous standard to the new standard that we call the KRN 2 or key revision number 2. And that meant that most of the customers that were classified as non-paying customers are now paying Eskom. So there are various mechanisms in which Eskom can be able to collect the revenue and then take some of their money and then pay what is due to the municipalities.
Yeah. Prof, in practical terms, how would these distribution agency agreements then change the way that electricity revenue is collected, managed, or even allocated at municipal level?
So basically, it would look like what's happening in the Eskom distribution areas, where Eskom basically takes over the entire infrastructure from the distribution networks and substations, everything, and then maintain that infrastructure. And then install things such as your smart meters. I noted that the Minister of Finance has made available some money. I think it's in the region of 2.5 billion rands that will then be used to install smart meters in some of these municipalities. And Eskom has got the capacity to install these smart meters in a much faster pace and also to be able to maintain them. So that's what I think will happen going forward. And then Eskom will be able to then collect the revenue, as I indicated before, and then there will be a charge, which is basically a small fee or management fee that Eskom will charge municipalities before they pay what is due to the municipalities. The municipalities will still be the ones procuring the electricity from Eskom, and then the Eskom will then manage the process of managing the infrastructure and the revenue collection.
Prof, some stakeholders, including SALGA, have cautioned that this may amount to a backdoor takeover of municipal electricity distribution. Do you believe that concern is justified, or is this a necessary stabilization measure, if you will?
For me, this is a necessary stabilization measure amongst other things that are being implemented by government. You will recall that the Minister of Electricity and Energy is also working on various measures, working with municipalities to try and deal with the municipal debt. One of the things that is doing is to try and pilot using new technologies such as your solar PV and wind energy, using municipal land to install those technologies and provide electricity that will be a bit more cheaper than what they could get from Eskom. And then based on from that particular model, they will be able to collect some revenue and then be able to pay Eskom while they're saving a little bit and having some money on their pockets. That's something that the minister is piloting. So for me, this is kind of a temporary measure, but a necessary one because the municipalities are struggling very much so. First, to maintain the infrastructure. You will recall that the country is currently going through what we call load reduction. And if you look at the causes, the major causes of load reduction, it's mainly at the distribution level, where some infrastructure has not been properly maintained in the past and is struggling to carry the load. And in some cases, you have illegal connections that are putting too much pressure on transformers, on various infrastructure. So those are some of the things that when Eskom takes over, they will be able to deal with. The minister is on a road show as we speak to deal with things like load reduction. So in terms of the balance sheet, I don't think municipalities have got the capacity as things stand, both from the balance sheet point of view and also from the implementation point of view, to manage the infrastructure and manage their ways out of the debt that they owe to Eskom, and also for them to be able to collect the revenue properly. If municipalities were able to collect revenue properly, they wouldn't be sitting in a situation where customers owe them more than 400 billion rand. And if there's no intervention like the one that the National Treasury has now advised, that could go way beyond 400 billion. We could see it going to 500 billion and beyond. And that impacts a lot on the Eskom operations and the Eskom balance sheet. It's one of the problems, the challenges that we had that led to load shedding, because Eskom couldn't have enough revenue to maintain the infrastructure that is necessary to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity.
Municipal electricity revenue has historically cross-subsidized other services, Prof. If Eskom then ring-fences consumer payments under these agreements, what could this mean for municipal budget and service delivery more broadly?
So what we've seen in most municipalities is that, yes, they take the money from the electricity sales and then cross-subsidize other essential services. But in most cases, you find that come the end of the financial year, the municipalities still have money, surpluses that they did not use from other services as well. So for me, it boils down to proper management of the municipal budget as opposed to the cross-subsidization. The fact that they end up with surpluses at come the end of the financial year means that there are services where they can redirect some of that money to cater for essential services where necessary.
So Treasury has indicated that municipalities that fail to comply may become immediately liable for their full outstanding debt to Eskom. How significant is this risk, Prof, and could it push municipalities into deeper financial distress?
That's correct. So the municipalities that won't conform and heed the National Treasury call, once they become fully liable, and these are municipalities that are under the debt relief program for National Treasury. Once they become liable, they basically have to service the Eskom debt. And if they don't service the Eskom debt, Eskom has got the right to use various means to recoup the money that is owed to Eskom, because then they would have to go out of that debt relief program, and then Eskom can use various means, including, by the way, going to courts to have some of the municipal assets taken over or frozen or taken over by Eskom, so that they can be able to service the debt that the municipalities are owing to them. So it could lead to dire consequences if the municipalities don't take this very seriously.
So beyond compliance issues, what structural weaknesses in municipal governance and revenue management have contributed to this 85 billion rand debt owed to Eskom?
So I think it boils down to the skills at municipal level in terms of the revenue collection. Most municipalities don't have the necessary skills and capacity to be able to come up with the various strategies to be able to collect the revenue. There are also structural issues and governance issues that lead to the collapse in the municipal governance, in various municipal governance processes. For instance, if you look at how Eskom has managed to install so many smart meters in such a short space of time compared to municipalities, you would have a full appreciation of what I'm referring to, because with municipalities, in some cases, they've got the budget, but they're unable to spend that budget, even on installation of meters, because of the collapse in terms of the governance processes, and in some cases, because of the lack of skills in the electricity sector or electricity divisions of various municipalities.
And how should policymakers then balance financial discipline with social equity, especially in communities already struggling with affordability and energy poverty?
So there is a program where the indigent households receive 50 units. The people call it units. We call it 50 kilowatt hours in our terms. And those 50 units, they are called free basic units. And if people are poor or indigent households, they can go to their municipalities and then register for that, and then they can receive the 50 free basic units. We also understand the fact that if you use that electricity for cooking, water heating, and everything else within the households, with 50 units, it might not take you up until the end of the month. So I'm aware that the Minister of Electricity and Energy is busy looking at various ways in which that can be reviewed, and then it can be pushed up a little bit. So there are measures that both government and Eskom have put in place to try and cushion the poor. Even the prices that we pay, if we look at what they call the rural flexi tariff, it's a tariff that basically protects the poor. The poor don't, and the indigents, they don't pay the same amount as the people living in affluent areas or the rich as well. So there are various measures in which government is trying to cushion the poor in this case.
Yeah. In the context of South Africa's energy transition, where do renewable energy integration and decentralized generation fit into this debate about distribution control?
So renewable energy is playing a big role. Recently, the Minister of Electricity and Energy launched what we call a mini grid in a village called Mavete in Limpopo. And part of that solution is to basically bring in renewable energy to deal with transition, and also to try and provide low-cost electricity to rural communities. And when it comes to the energy transition, we're talking now about what we call the balanced just energy transition. We just recently concluded a SANEDI conference where we were part of the things that we were looking at is the just energy transition or the balanced just energy transition, to say when we transition from a high carbon economy to a low carbon economy, we shouldn't leave anyone behind. So all the workers should be involved. There must be repurposing and refiring of the coal-fired power stations. Those that can give us longevity, there must be retrofits of emission abatement technologies like the advanced ones that we have at Kusile and Medupi. And then people must be trained. If you look at what is happening, for instance, at Komati Power Station, where there's a training facility for people who are being trained to manufacture these mini grids or micro grids that will be installed in about 40 sites in South Africa, where Eskom has conducted feasibility study to look at how those communities that are remote, that are very far from the grid, can be given an opportunity to access electricity. But at the same time, the integrated resource plan has provided for about 40% renewable energy contribution by 2039. And that then means that we need to then go on procurement and work with IPPs to bring in the renewable energy into the space, but also increasing what we call the local content. Because once you increase the local content, you start to create jobs inside South Africa. We have the South African a renewable energy master plan that talks to local beneficiation and local manufacturing of the various technologies that are going to assist us in terms of the battery energy storage facilities, and the renewable energy systems like your solar PV and your wind turbines and the towers and things like that, so that we can then be able to grow the economy, because electricity is a major input into the economic activities of any country, including South Africa.
Yeah. Professor Mamphweli, thank you so much for your valuable insights this evening. Your perspective really does help us move beyond the headlines to understand the deeper governance, the financial and policy implications of these proposed agreements and what they could mean for the future of South Africa's electricity sector.